Today we discuss two stories. We have some more shocking developments surrounding our hunt to recall back a certain left back, and to end with things, I have a big story surrounding one of the young star strikers in the Premier League season and the club's plan to make that loan spell permanent. Hope you guys enjoy. But before we get into things, I want to get one big plug out of the way first. Today's video is brought to you by SPITCH, the ultimate fantasy manager app new on the market, which allows you to build and create your own teams where you can battle out against other managers, play in communities, and of course, play against your friends as well. So now is a great opportunity for you to test your team knowledge, your player knowledge, where you can collect points and have the chance to win a share of up to 70,000 per week. Guys, I'm going to show you exactly how the app works. It's very simple, you guys. Here's a list of the leagues they have. I'm going to click on the Premier League. Once you do, you want to scroll all the way down to click on free, and here this is where you can create your own lineup. You have the opportunity right here to pick the formation you want to use. There's a ton listed here. I'm going to stick with our tried and tested 2-3-4-3, and of course this is where I'm going to add players to my team currently. So I think for this, quite fitting to add Broja up front. I always have to see Mason Mount in my team. As you guys can see, this is the team I've decided to pick. Of course, you guys get 150 mil to build your team. If you do get under budget, you do get bonus managerial points which can help you throughout a week. And of course, once you pick your team, select your captain, and it's quite obvious that it has to be Mason Mount for me. So you confirm that, and that's that. You have a team ready to compete in the week. So if this sounds like perfect fun for you, go to the description, you guys, download the app. It's a great opportunity to help support the channel as well too. I hope you guys have fun with it, and of course remember, you have to be 18 plus to participate in this app. Now let's get back to the main stories. So now let's start with the first story, you guys, and we have to discuss the big developments surrounding Emerson and our opportunities and chances of recalling him back on loan in this January window. Now, multiple sources came out late last night, but for this particular video, I'm going to cite The Athletic just because it's easier. And it seems like the stress and the drama is going to continue, and I guess, as we all feared, a new player won't be coming in until maybe later, near the end of this month, which is just like absolutely annoying and disastrous in my opinion. But regardless, you guys, things we already know. Tuchel is a big fan of Emerson, he calls him M, and he wants this guy back. Of course, on top of this though, it makes big financial sense for the club to recall a player that they already own, because we have 5 players on the club's books playing at left back. That's a ridiculous amount. And it actually works out being financially easier and cheaper to pay the compensation fee towards Lyon to bring Emerson back, which for me, on paper, is a smart business move to make. However, you guys, there are some complications coming through at this point in time. We know that when we allowed Emerson to go on loan to Lyon, there was an option to buy at 50 million euros inserted in that deal. What wasn't inserted though was any option to recall Emerson, which of course means that we have to pay a compensation fee to bring him back. Anyway, in yesterday's reports, I discussed that we did offer 4 million euros as a compensation fee. However, late last night, that was turned down, that was rejected, and in my opinion, could we still entice Lyon to sell Emerson if we boost that money up to 5 or 6 million? And it seems kind of crazy that we're paying this amount of money to bring back a player that we still technically own. However, the club still feel kind of hopeful that business can still be done. However, this is where the complications do in fact come into place. They involve Emerson, his personal decision and agency, and it involves Lyon's president in John Michael Olas, and we know that this guy is notoriously difficult to deal with when it comes to negotiations. He is a guy that wants to win for himself, I understand that. And currently he has pressure on himself. As I've been saying, Emerson has become like a key first team player at Lyon. Of course, the quality he's showing at left back is consistent, it's good, and that's being reciprocated and appreciated by Lyon fans. Lyon fans are a bit annoyed by the fact that they've sold players and they've barely spent any money to sign players to reinforce the team. They're currently sitting in mid-table, and the talent they have in your Paquetas, your Bruno Guimaraes, and so many more players they have on their books. Of course, they are underperforming heavily. What message are you sending out to the Lyon fans if you let go and essentially sell your main number 1 left back, considering this is a position where you're struggling to find options, and the options that you do own who are out on loan aren't good enough? Notoriously, Lyon have found it very difficult to replace Ferland Mendy, who went to sign for Real Madrid, and they don't want to be in a position where they're weakened even more when they're still hoping as a fan that they can have something at the end of the season. If Olas did sell Emerson, he's going to put himself in a very delicate situation. There'll be a ton of backlash and pressure against him as well too. And right now, for PR reasons, is that the smartest move to make? Probably not. On top of this, we now move on to Emerson, his personal decisions. And ideally, right now, the guy is pretty comfortable with life in France. He's enjoying his time there. Him and his family are very settled as well. And this is the thing, you guys, a lot of times we think about football, we forget that players have their own families, their own responsibilities, you know, and especially during like a COVID time, it's very hard for players to just get up and leave and focus solely on their careers, which can come across as a bit selfish when you have kids and a wife as well too. Of course, if he comes back, he has an amazing opportunity to add more silverware to his career. You know, we're going to be competing in the Club World Cup series. We're potentially, and I think definitely going to be in the final of the Carabao Cup. And of course, we have the FA Cup to play for and the Champions League to defend as well too. With Ben being out, this could be the time Emerson needs to really kick Alonso out of the team. And I definitely think he has the qualities and abilities to do so. However, at the same time though, if you do commit to that, potentially what if your family are staying in France and you're isolated away from them? That's been a common thing that's affected many footballers. We cast our minds back to the Lukaku interview. He hasn't been able to see his family as much, or his mum either. So, you know, players are still human beings. We all want to have that emotional connection with us. It only makes sense. So, honestly, we have to see what happens. And for me, it's going to definitely come down to the club potentially offering more money and us praying that Lyon find a good solution and substitution to replace Emerson. How do you guys feel about the story? If it does mess up and we can't get business done, I guess we're back in the market. So you guys check out yesterday's News Daily video. And now we end things with another big story. And this has been a story that I've been hearing about for over the past 7 days. I can now start talking about it because I guess it's now come out and it's been resurfaced. But I can provide a lot more context and information behind this particular story. It involves Armando Broja and Southampton, as Southampton are really planning on making his loan spell a permanent and keeping him at the club. Now this season, Broja has proven to be one of the, standout young players of the season. Of course, he scored again versus Brentford last night. He's in amazing form. And when you look at his entire game, the guy's got explosive speeds and short distances, long distances. He shoots the ball very early as well too. Got great shooting technique from his left foot and his right foot. He can lead the line. He's a powerful guy that's even taller, by just 1 centimeter than Lukaku. And seeing that potential, seeing that frame, seeing how he's played and seeing how he's been able to work himself as a first team player for Southampton, especially when Hasenhüttl had many reservations about his game and his ability during the start of the season, because this was a player that he didn't even agree to. This was a Southampton club signing. I'm sure Hasenhüttl now has realised the errors of his ways, and as he himself said yesterday when asked if Broja could remain at Southampton, he said, yeah, he's loved here, the fans love him, and I'm sure it would be great if he was our player. And I guess that's the plans and energy that Southampton now have. One particular big bit of context to provide for you guys is the fact that recently, during the start of the year, Southampton got new investment in the club. Serbian billionaire Dragan Salac is able to buy out some shares in Southampton, which has meant that he's now pumped in and reinvested over 100 million into Southampton. And their plans and ambitions is to make Southampton a club network, similar to what Man City are doing, and similar to Red Bull with, of course, Red Bull Salzburg and Red Bull Leipzig as well too. This makes a ton of sense for me. I've always thought that Southampton, on paper, their infrastructure, their academy, this is the type of club you invest money into because you can get really good rewards and benefits from them. And Dragan wants to make one big statement signing, and it's quite obvious who that statement signing is. Now here's where I can give you guys some details behind some transfer talks that have been held. Nothing is like super concrete, but Southampton have been talking to the club of the availability of Broja. They're happy to make Broja the most expensive signing in the history. So far, a 23 million offer has been spoken about and asked about. However, the club have reservations on letting Broja leave. During discussions, the only way that Marina and the board would even be tempted into doing business with Southampton was if it involves some very hefty clauses in the deal. You could imagine that would involve like an option to buy in the future, which we do quite a lot of times. That could involve a big percentage fee, or that could include first refusal of other clubs as well too. We can't forget that before Broja left to sign for Southampton on loan, he did commit to signing a new 5-year deal, which gives the club a lot of leverage when it comes to any future possible sales. If Southampton are serious, I'd imagine they'd have to make a bigger offer than 23 mil, and of course those clauses in the deal would have to be particularly sexy to even get some interest from the club at this point in time. However, you know, Broja, he loves Chelsea Football Club. His dream is to play for us. He wants to remain at this club. But in football, you guys, players have their agents and their teams as well too. And you need to just have that different perspective there, because ultimately you have to think about your career. And sometimes you have to think about possibilities that you may not like at the time. And those possibilities are, Southampton now have a very exciting project in plan after this new investment. Those realities are as well too, that with our signing of Lukaku, how much game time could Broja command compared to him? And another reality is that he's very popular at Southampton right now. He has the opportunity of being a key player there. And of course, with Emerson remaining there as well too, the pull factor just grows more and more and more. Nothing has been decided yet, but Southampton's intentions are extremely clear. They want to sign Broja on a permanent, they want to do business, and I guess the ball is now in the club's court. For me, we have to see what definitely happens, but it's not the first time the club have done business where they've sold highly, key young stars for decent money with options to buy at the end and first refusals too. We have to see. And you guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. There is going to be a live stream out today for the game versus Spurs and a match review. Tomorrow, I've got a pretty fun news daily video to discuss. It's a potential what if, one of the biggest football transfer what ifs of all time, if it had been pulled off and gone through. So I hope you guys enjoy that. And on that note, I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV. Help support the channel, download SPITCH in the description. I'll see you guys later. Cool.